Court of Appeals right there, and then City Hall right here, and then the State Capitol building right there. What's up, everyone? I am in the state capital of my home state, Albany, New York. So I am going to go around, show you the state capitol, show you the state courts, the state administrative buildings. Basically, a lot of what you are going to be seeing is going to have to do with state government. But I think that's really, really interesting, actually. Mainly just because it's like my home state. But this is my second time in Albany. Let's go. So right here is the state capitol building. This is where all of the legislative officials, our representatives, actually come and convene and pass legislation. It's a very interesting building because it is so different than what you would think of for a normal state capitol building. Obviously, you think at first of the U.S. Capitol building that has like that giant dome, and then you have the whole two different chambers for the House of Representatives and for the Senate. But here, it looks like almost like a castle a little bit. Like just the way that it's built, and you have the giant statue in front, and it has such like a very different feel. I don't know, most state capitol buildings I feel like resemble the U.S. Capitol building, at least in like, maybe not like fully, but at least in most aspects. Yeah, this is completely different. The architecture is so cool. You have some columns, but you have pilasters, and just, yeah, it feels like, I don't want to say like medieval because it's not like fully like that, but I don't know, it has like a very old element. That's something that you see everywhere in Albany with the government buildings. They make them incredibly nice, and they have a lot of Roman features, and I think a lot of that is just because they want the state capitol to have a very appealing features to it, because yeah, they want people to run for office. They want the best representatives to actually be coming to Albany. If Albany was a dump, you know, why would people run for political office? Because then they'd also have to be like moving to a dump. But also, it's coming from taxpayer dollars, so you know, the politicians themselves are benefiting, so that's a whole thing. But I think, yeah, all of the government buildings here so unique and so fascinating with the architecture. So the statue in front of the state capitol building, this is of Philip Sheridan, and Sheridan was one of the greatest generals for the Union during the American Civil War. And he also had to do with establishing Yellowstone as a national park, but he is commemorated here because of his efforts preserving this nation. The way you just have the massive staircase that is leading right up to it, I mean, I'm not even kidding, you have to go about at least 40 steps, so that also just adds to this grandeur feeling. Also, with the state capitol building, it's not just the front facade that has all the grandeur, it's the whole thing. Now I'm on a side view of it, and look, it still presents all the castle elements. And yeah, the outside, it's so crazy cool. Just the architecture. There's no other Capitol building in the U.S. that is like this. Here is the Court of Appeals, which in New York is actually the highest court. So it's our state Supreme Court. New York is really funky in that the New York State Supreme Court is actually the lowest court on the system. But here, this building, just the way that it has the marble throughout the whole building, and you have the big Roman columns. How many of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. And then you have, I love how on the top you have engraved in it New York State Court of Appeals on top, and this is a really nice building. So all of the buildings that I will be showing you today, unless otherwise noted, are buildings for the New York State government. Nothing here is federal, again, unless I otherwise note it. So everything from here is built from New York State taxpayer dollars. Everything relates only to New York residents. So we have Albany City Hall, and even this building has a very like castle-esque feeling, a very old feeling, not what you would think of when you think of like a regular city hall. So continuing that theme. This is not a New York State government building. This is a building specifically for just the city of Albany itself. So only dealing with things for Albany residents. This is made from Albany taxpayer dollars. I love how you have the Court of Appeals right there, and then City Hall right here, and then the State Capitol building right there, and then over there are administrative buildings that we are going to head to. So it's all literally within one like central pavilion. Last time I was here, I had the thought that this area gave a vibe of like Turkmenistan, and I still stand by that 100% because you just have this like openness of space, and you have these very thin but very tall administrative buildings, and there are what, like 5 of them, and there's like nothing else around here. It's just openness, and it feels like there's literally nothing going on here right now. It just has like an eerie vibe to it. Just the layout is literally like Turkmenistan, but the only thing is that during the day, during the workday, there are thousands of employees in this complex. But Turkmenistan, they have these exact same type of buildings, but they are completely empty, and they're really just for show from the government. There's a very clear trend. Either the state buildings look like this, like a castle in grandeur, or they are pure marble. It's one or the other. Weird structure right here. This is called the Egg, and it's actually a music venue. It doesn't look that big, and it's really not, but apparently it seats like hundreds of people in there, and the way it's shaped is purposely meant for the acoustics to be really good. And yeah, artists actually come here and they have concerts. The design is really cool because you see how you have the wall right here, and then like it just bulges out at the top, and yeah, like there are seats like literally right there. So this adds into just unique architectural design because this is really interesting. I also find it pretty cool how they're able to make it literally like an egg, and how that helps out with the acoustics and makes things sound. The Egg is right in the middle of what I say are the Eerie administrative buildings, and then State Capitol. So, some fun facts about the state flag. It has the New York State Coat of Arms, which was created in 1778. It represents commerce, justice, and liberty. Loyalty, bravery, and courage. Those are the colors of blue, white, and orange, the state colors. It has the word Excelsior, meaning ever upward, on the flag. And New York really brings in the word Excelsior so many different ways they can. Excelsior is basically our state motto. The state flag was adopted officially in 1901. You'll find a lot of memorials for the fallen men and women who have served our communities, whether it be firefighters, like the Firefighters Memorial I am at right now, or police officers, or healthcare workers, or just anybody who served the community. There's a lot of that. I think it's really great how they commemorate these lost lives. Sometimes as you're just walking, you just stumble upon more memorials. Like now I am in the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, and the soldiers in Vietnam. Walking in the downtown area is nothing crazy. You have, some shops, some restaurants. You got a few major streets that there are things happening. There are big name hotels. There is Hilton, and there is a Renaissance Hotel. So I think a lot of that has to do with the state legislators that come here, or you have lobbyists who are coming here because they want tax breaks for their businesses, especially because of so much that happens in New York City. So they come up here to Albany and stay here. Besides that, everything here revolves around state government, especially the economy here. So many people are employed by, state government. Caitlin Clark in the Iowa team bus literally just passed right in front of me as I'm walking down like this random street. Police escort, that's so cool. So I'm right up alongside the Hudson River, and the Hudson produces some stunning views as you're in like the lower Hudson area. Now in Albany, it's kind of like, you see, it's like whatever, like it's a waterway. You don't even like get like that great view of a skyline, but it's still nice to have the Hudson right here. When you are in the Hudson Valley, think of like the Poughkeepsie area. That is where, oh my god, that's stunning when there's the fall foliage. But here still you have a nice walkway that you can go for a nice run or just stroll alongside the river. So at one point, actually, Albany was colonized by the Dutch, and you had a lot of Dutch settlers come here during the 1600s, and just the way that the Dutch built the city, like that city layout has kind of remained into today. So Albany is alongside a very northern part of the Hudson River. So the Dutch came up this and colonized this whole area. And when the Dutch settled here, it was originally settled by the Mohawk and Mahican Native American tribes, and they inhabited this region for thousands of years. So the Dutch ship, which was called the Half Moon, ended up coming here in 1609, so a while back. And what was the big thing here? Like, why did the Dutch care about Albany, right? Like, who cares? It's, the only access is this little, like, the Hudson River. Like, you can't get anywhere. You gotta go all the way south. It's so easy to blockade. Well, it was the beaver trade. There were a lot of beavers. Beaver hunting for beaver fur became a huge industry. That's one of the things that the French did when they had parts of Canada colonized, and that's why the Dutch created Fort Nassau in 1614, Fort Orange in 1624, and those were just big trading outposts for the Dutch, and they got wealthy off of it. So Albany is situated literally right in the middle of major cities. It's not close to major cities, but it's still in the middle of them. We are about a 3-hour drive from Montreal, 3-hour drive from New York City, 4-ish hours from Boston, and about 5 from Buffalo. Even the universities here have a very castle-y feel to it. What? So students don't actually go to school at this building. This is the administrative center for SUNY, which is the State University of New York system. So SUNY has a bunch of different universities across New York State, ranging from SUNY Binghamton, Stony Brook, Buffalo, New Paltz, and so many. There's like 60 plus of them. SUNY operates very similar to the Cal State University system, where essentially every university is its own independent entity. They can do whatever they want. They have their own funding. They can admit students as they wish. But in terms of like state standards and just like an overall like broader umbrella, I guess if you want to think about like almost like as if it's the bureaucracy, that's kind of like how they operate. I like how right here they have the banners of every single SUNY school. So each one represented right here, and it's a nice setup. Building is so much bigger than you would expect, and it feels like a very expensive building. And the architecture is fitting in with the vibe of the whole city. And then let's see, I'm gonna run a little bit. And then right here, it's right in the whole downtown strip. You may also be familiar with CUNY, which is the same exact concept, but specifically for New York City. Some of the schools include Baruch and John Jay College of Criminal Justice. Remember how earlier I said that everything that I'm going to show you relates to either state or local government unless otherwise noted? Well, this is the unless otherwise noted. This is a United States Federal Courthouse, and I could tell just honestly, like by the architecture, that you could tell it's not a state or city because it has like the typical like Washington-esque feel. Like just it's like almost like a big marble block. It is the post office court. Whatever that means. If you know what the post office court is, let me know in the comments. And then my last stop that I wanted to show everyone, the governor's mansion. So this is where our governor Kathy Hochul lives, and it's not like overwhelmingly huge, but I love how, look, here's the mansion, literally just in the middle of like a regular residential community. The architecture of it fits in with the theme of all the other government buildings, how it feels older. I love the architecture, how the facade feels a little rustic, and it fits into the vibe. And you know, just like that, I have already seen all of Albany. It was quick, only took me about 2 hours to see everything. So final thoughts, if you're a New Yorker and you're very, very interested in government, in politics, could be fun to take a quick little trip here, only 3 hours north of New York City. Quick drive, or you can take Amtrak, which is so easy. So yeah, it's very cool in that sense. That's what really interested me the most. Besides that, there's honestly like there's nothing like crazy to do, except sometimes you get cool events like what I'm here for. So yeah, that's Albany.